Peace, I'm alive victorious.
I'm true universal.
I'm Syncear.
And this is
When the Gods Build.
And when the gods unify to build intellectually for one common cause,
We show the world manhood
And brotherhood
to achieve godhood.
Peace, my
Peace.
brothers.
Peace.
We back
to
with
the
another
gods.
episode, you know what I'm saying?
Peace, God.
Season 2. How y'all feeling, man?
I feel
Great,
great.
man.
I feel great. Got my little goofy sweater with the tacos on the joint.
That joint heat.
And these nice chairs, feeling like we sitting at that Jedi Council right now.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up,
It's a
man.
nice vibe in here.
Yeah.
Definitely like it.
Appreciate it.
Before we start, you know, we've been working on something, and I really wanted to take time to point it out. You know what I'm saying? We got the book, The Art of Brotherhood. Blessed is the man that has a brother.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you talk about it since you bringing it up.
yeah. You know, well, first, how y'all feel about just creating the book as a whole? First, that's what I wanted to ask y'all. You know,
I feel like this is our version of As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. That's what I think it's like. But it's like in the concept of brotherhood to help men align themselves with other men rather than always being combative and, you know, trying to pick a fight because people not seeing eye to eye. So I think that's going to like help men align themselves with other men and be able to build some constructive infrastructure.
Indeed. What about you, Syncear?
Yeah, I agree with what he's saying. I think the book will serve as a manual for, you know, brotherhood in our community. Not just our community, you know, it's a manual or blueprint, you know, for individuals across the, you know, the planet to be able to come together in a righteous manner and to get things done, you know. So I think it's a good start. You know, I'm excited about it. You know, it's happy to, you know, have some that we can put out for the people. So I'm happy.
Indeed. Yeah, man. I really cherish this because it's like, yo, we really came together and 3 minds coming together to put a book together. That takes a lot of time, energy, you know what I'm saying, and resources. So
Yeah.
it's like to do that and then to be able to publish my first book with my brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit is dope too.
it's
like it's
fire.
like
Definitely is.
it's like damn, like we really did it. Because it was like we was working on it for so long and then it was just like, oh, we done. You know what I'm saying? Like it's here. Like so I really cherish that, man. So yeah, man, the Art of Brotherhood, you know, coming to y'all, you feel me? You can get it on our Shopify, on our TikTok shop. Yeah. Feel me?
Yes,
There you
sir.
go. But yeah, man, let's get to the episode, man. Dissecting the maternal wound,
Ooh, that
the
sounds
mother
heavy.
of uncivilization. Firstly, what is a maternal wound?
Maternal wound. A maternal wound, from how I'm seeing it, can come from, you know, your mom, or it even come from your grandmother. So it's like when your mom or your grandmother does something so deep that it traumatizes you on a level where it's just like it affects how you deal with other women. And so that's how I see it.
So, what are some maternal wounds that you've experienced or faced in your upbringings?
For me, it was emotional neglect. My mom, she was like not really around because she was active duty military. You know, she served 21 years in the Navy. So it's like during my teenage years, like she worked a lot. So it's like I go to school, she's already gone. I get back from school, she ain't even there yet. So maybe I'm home for maybe like an hour or two before she even gets to the house. And then, you know, when she gets in, it's just the usual, you know, mundane questions of how's school, do you got homework, did you eat, stuff like that. But it's like actually trying to express myself and like what I'm going through and how I'm navigating school. Those, you know, those questions and those nuances, yeah, you know, they just weren't there. And so anytime I was actually going through some real stuff, the trust between, you know, her and I's bond wasn't there. So it's just like I had to find different ways to navigate expressing myself.
Yeah, that's I can only imagine all of the nuances that come with that. For myself, I would say a mother wound that I think I experienced was just a lack of family cohesion as it pertains to my extended family. You know, when I was younger, we used to get together a lot, holidays, Sundays, just dinners. But as I started getting a little bit older, due to different family discrepancies and dynamics, we didn't get together as much. And of course, these is more of my developmental years as well. I'm going to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And my mother's side of the family, it's a lot of damage, you know, particularly from drugs. And so, you know, my mother having me at 19, you know, I think I experienced a degree of emotional neglect as it pertains to affection. You know, of course, my mother makes sure I got my clothes, food, home, place to stay, etc. But as it pertains to really emoting with my mom and getting in an intimate emotional space with my mother, I don't think that she was there to be able to do that because she was also dealing with, you know, her traumas from her mother and that side of the family and all of those things. So I think it might have been a degree of neglect in that space, which I can understand. And so as I look back on it, you know, I can see how that affects, again, my relationship with aunts on that side of the family.
Yeah.
You know, grandmothers, you know, then you got the nieces and the cousins. So you can see the trickle down effect on how it affects, again, how you relate or emote with feminine energy, period. Right. So I would say that's how I think, you know, I was affected by it.
Yeah, I was affected by it. And me and my mom talked about this. Like you said, emotional neglect, but more so like not allowing the space for me to communicate my emotions without them being shut down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, you know, when that happened, it was just like, you know, the one person I'm trying to tell, because it's like as you come up as a man and you start to get older, you start to want to have your own stance as a man. You start to develop your own stance as a man. You start to stand on your square more. And you start to flex your muscles more. So with that, your mom might not understand what you're doing. You know, when you start to make decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
You feel me? They just want you to play it safe. And it's like my way or the highway, you know what I'm saying? Versus, nah, I see something, so let me try it, and then I'll learn from that result of that experience, whether it be good or bad. But as a man, I got to go through things on my own. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My mom wants to coddle you, hold you. It's like when you fall. As you start to get older, you just want to get back up, and you just want to learn how to get back up. But your mom's like, nah, let me hold you, let me console you. It's like, nah, that's not what I want. You feel me? Like, I have to learn how to do this on my own, because you're not always going to be here, you know? But like, me and my mom talked about that too, and it's like, one of the things that kind of shocked me, it was like, once I voiced it, she was like, well, damn, I didn't know, you know, because she was just doing her best, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, like, have y'all had a chance, or have y'all ever communicated these things to y'all moms?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Me and my mom, we I want to say like throughout my 20s, like we ain't really talk like that, and cause like I had a lot of anger and pride, and like I just didn't want to hear what was going. Like I knew what she had went through in her life, but it was just like, for me, it was just like, all right, I know what you went through, but why is that affecting me and what we can have? And so, but again, I'm still in my 20s. I'm kind of, you know, cocky, arrogant, but at the same time naive, all in the same mix. And so it came to me one day, was just like, all right, like my mom may not be the mom that I need for me, but at least she could be the grandmother to my daughters. So, but in order to like have that dynamic, I was like, there's some work that I got to do to, you know, mend what we have, so she can have a better relationship with them, because they're innocent in all of this. And so, because I understand my mom's trauma responses and I understand mine, I booked us a session at the Destruction Room in Virginia Beach. And that gave us a space, because like she has a fight response, and it's like, if she's getting combative, I'm getting combative, and then we both, you know, rile at each other. I'm like, I don't need that, but it's like, how can I, you know, be mindful of that space and still try to mend things? And so I booked a session at the Destruction Room. I think it was like for an hour. And I had the sledgehammer, she had the crowbar, and we just breaking stuff, and we just having a conversation. Mm-hmm. And then after that session was over, we sat in the parking lot, she crying, I'm crying, we, hugging. And we probably talked in the parking lot for maybe like 2-3 hours. And I'm just like, I still got stuff I got to do, but it's like this conversation is actually getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And, and that was just like the first step to us like really, mending things. And I mean, she was here last night. I had her dog for the whole week. Mm-hmm. We riding around, doing stuff, chilling and things like that. So yeah, I mean, she was here last night. So yeah, I think things are much better now that I'm in my 30s than when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Were you able to communicate these maternal wounds to your mom, boy, sister?
We've spoken about the family dynamics, and we speak about the family dynamics a lot. And within talking about the family dynamics, again, it's like a emotional layered onion where you constantly pulling back layers of emotion and trauma, not just from my mother immediately, but then layers of trauma from all of the people in between, my mother, grandmother, aunts, great-grandmother, all. So it's like you're trying to see where everybody was coming from in these different time periods that created my mom in 1972. And then from 1972 to 1982 to 1992. So it's like putting together like this movie, so to speak. It's this puzzle piece in a sense.
Yeah, like a timeline, yeah.
Right. And so in doing that, I like to do that for myself because that keeps me to be emotionally more neutral and understanding of the whole thing versus taking it personal. And by doing that, it helps me to not be overly bitter, so to speak, about the situation, because it can make you that way. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
You're like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Or blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, everything is connected. So you don't have anything to do with it, but the offshoot of it, you do have something to do with it. So it's we've spoken about those things. Now, as far as us speaking about, the affection piece, I don't think we've spoken about that particular portion per se yet, but the conversation is ever going. We'll talk about it in due time. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to start calling him Syncear Scorsese.
Putting together movie pictures, man, to break these things down. You got to.
Yeah. Do you so with that and with these maternal wounds, does that affect your perspective on matriarchy? Well, firstly, let's define what is matriarchy.
Matriarchy is a system of government ran by mothers. So that's essentially what matriarchy is, and then of course patriarchy is fathers. So in my bloodline is actually a matriarchy. My great grandmother had 13 children, 11 girls, 3 boys.
Oh man, yeah.
That's 14. Math off. Anyway, but 14 children, 11 girls and 3 boys. And so, and that's literally how my family is one big matriarchy. But within that matriarchy, my great grandmother did some stuff that affected her children, and then her children did some stuff that affected each other. And so right now it's just chaotic. It's just real chaotic. Everyone, I got family in California, I got family in Michigan, I got family in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Florida, Virginia. Yeah. Like, we're just so scattered. I even got cousins in Japan. So it's like we're just scattered everywhere. And it's like anytime one of them, like whether it's an aunt or maybe even a cousin, would try to put some type of family reunion together, everyone is holding on to all this trauma from what someone else did. Rather than looking to bring about a solution, like, oh, well, so-and-so did this to my sister, or so-and-so did this to my brother. And I'm just like, face palm. Like, oh, my goodness. Like, we're not going to get anywhere with this. Not to say that a matriarchy is a bad system of governance. It just has to, like, the relationships really need to be mended, and the women are coherent and cohesive with each other in order for it to flourish.
I see that.
Right. And yeah, I think that's the case too. I know on my side of the family, it's kind of similar too, where it's like you're trying to figure out how to get together or fix the brokenness, but everybody still has these emotions that they're harboring, which is understandable. And so you're trying to navigate, well, how do we address each person's emotional gripe in a way that's organized, that you know what I'm saying, has a structure to it where it don't get too out of pocket. How do you even do that? You know what I'm saying? And then let alone check your own emotional situations that you may have in the situation while you dealing with that.
Yeah.
And so I think this is not only I think that dynamic is really I think that's what a lot of Black or original families in America actually deal with.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out, well, how do we fix that? Because like we was looking at the fight last night, the Mike Tyson and
Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul fight. And you saw the two Mexican fighters, you know what I'm saying, that was fighting before. And when you go throughout the cities, you see the Mexicans in every major city in America thriving in ways because they come together. It's like you go to the neighborhood, it's like 50 cars in the
driveway.
In the driveway, you know what I'm saying? And all of our Latino followers and supporters, we appreciate you. And we actually appreciate the examples that you guys are actually setting within your family dynamics, because it's a lot that many of us are learning, you know, as we're relearning family and community from watching you guys. So, you know, I appreciate you all in that example.
It's like that with the Filipinos too.
Filipinos, Asian
I got some good Filipino friends in the Philippines right now. Shout out to y'all.
We are in a space where we're relearning family and community by watching, you know, those, not just them, but, you know, those other ethnic groups, so to speak. You know, we're learning from them. But I think in doing that, I see that, like, how do you solve the family gripes? You know, and so that's where a matriarchal system or a matriarchal approach plus a patriarchal approach, I think, could assist. Where, you got to hash this joint out like it's court. Yeah. You might have to have your aunt over there in that chair, your mom over here in this chair, and you in the middle. Oh, you got 3 minutes to speak, mom. All right, aunt, you done? All right, aunt, you got 3 minutes to speak. Don't cut her off. Let her say what she need to say. And you might have to hash it out in this type of manner, this organized fashion, like court in a sense.
Family law.
Family law. That's right.
So
coined.
So with that, because that was what I was going to get to next. Do you think matriarchy and patriarchy can work together, and if so, how?
Yeah, I mean, it starts in the home with a 2-parent household, mother and the father and the children. Like that's really where everything starts. That's the nuclear family. But somewhere along the lines, we don't have to get into all the nuances of when it occurred in America. But we used to have nuclear families where, it was 2-parent household, mother, father goes to work, mother stays home, take care of the children go off to school. They mind their parents, they mind their neighbors. And we had that. And that's what made America strong. That's what made America great. Don't come for me. I know that.
Facts.
But yeah, we have to get back to that, the matriarchal and the patriarchal 2-parent household, because that's what makes us thrive as a society.
Yeah, especially when you got a government, like the government pushes the man out the household, like, you know what I'm saying, as far as with Section 8 and different government programs, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's made to break us up, I know that's like a form of classism, but it's like, our people are always at the bottom of the totem pole because we're targeted. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that we can't come up, but a lot of programs that's put in place that says it's helping us is really breaking up that family structure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to combat, And it's like, even with these systems in place, we still come together because of love. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about mending them and having that communication when it comes to that,
Right.
So like, yeah.
In light of that, I would like to say, when we come together, having a reason to come together.
Facts.
Not just coming together. I think Black people, we have a culture that we have built where we come together because we do come together, but the types of things that we consistently come together for, we have to look at our cultural dynamics as a people. Like, what do we come together for? We might come together for a cookout, you know what I'm saying? Homecoming, HBCUs, you know, we coming together in droves, right?
Come together at the
Clubs, you know what I mean? A party, whatever, and et cetera. Many other different ways. But we do come together. But it's like when we get together, what are we doing when we get there?
Yeah.
What do those practices look like?
Is it constructive?
Are they destructive or productive? Come together, homecoming. I mean, it's like, bro, you got people that come from various classes of graduation that come together in a concentrated pocket.
Thousands of people.
What are we doing when we get there?
Yeah.
Turning up. Turning up. And ain't nothing wrong with turning up. Turning up is peace. But
It's a time and place.
it's a time and place. Is that all we gonna do is turn up? So I think we have to address our cultural habits.
And cultural priorities.
Cultural habits and priorities.
And it's like social equality. Like that's why I get. But it's like you got to evolve from that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, why does the devil keep us apart from his social equality? Like, he doesn't want us to know how filthy he is in all his affairs. But it's like, yo, that's the foundation of getting somewhere to like different levels of equality, financial equality, business equality. You feel me? It starts at social, but it's like we always stay at the social. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't elevate past that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we got to find ways to elevate past that, man. And I mean, we, like you say, we do get together for other causes, but it's not as frequent.
Right.
People will more so come together for a HBCU homecoming than to come together, yo, let's build a business around real estate, or I got a determined idea to, like I said, write a book. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's write a book or something. Anything constructive, it's like, nah. And I know that's because it takes work, but still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we come together more so so what has happened in the breakdown of our family structure, we have learned to operate independently. And there is a pro to that, but it is also a con. So we really, for the most part, when one Black person is doing something, they're doing it independently.
Yeah.
And I even have to sometimes, you know, that energy be on me sometimes. Like, I'm constantly working to check myself in different ways when I'm being like, yo, am I operating independently right now or collectively? So I get it. You know, it's a training, it's a conditioning that has occurred at the breakdown of our family structure. So we have to look at that.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, like, as far as the matriarchy goes in our family structure, how does it add on? Like, you know, what are the benefits of a matriarchy, a powerful matriarchy, a true matriarchy in that family dynamic? Because like you said, we had to get back to the family structure, the man and the woman being in the household. What is a healthy matriarchy within that family household? What does that look like?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
I think,
and I know it's subjective too, because
Right.
everybody has their own relationships, man and woman, and you know that's a man's business and a woman's business. But just on the general level, you know.
Yeah, and I think to address that question, then we have to look at, you know, the another question of what creates happy, healthy women.
That's a better
facts.
question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is a good question.
That's the one to get to that, because I feel like if women are happy and healthy, it just takes care of itself. You know what I'm saying? The water is gonna flow where the water gonna flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are those things that make women happy and healthy?
That is a good question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, women like, from what I have seen and observed about women, they really like to be acknowledged and you know, acknowledgement. You know, I definitely, you know, whether it's, you know, I like, you know, thank you, ma, or grandma, or aunt, or your significant other. Thank you for that food that you made, man. That was amazing. Or you know, I like your hair today. You know, do you need me to do something with your car? You know, various accommodations and acknowledgments, I think, make women feel seen and heard.
Yeah.
And I think that those two small things help them to be happy and healthy to degrees, especially if it's coming from fathers, grandfathers, you know what I mean, significant others, etc.
I think it's also too, like, foundatively is just getting lost with them in the moment, whether it be a significant other, your mom, your grandmother, but having experiences where you immerse yourself and both of y'all get lost in the moment of enjoying each other's company. You know what I'm saying? I found that to be a real strong thing to keep a woman happy, because it could be, if a woman truly, genuinely loves you, it don't matter what you could do, as long as you plan something and then you give her your undivided attention in that moment and get lost in that moment. It's like she's locked in with you forever because you made her feel great regardless of what it is. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's because, like you said, it's subjective based upon the woman, but it's like whatever that experience is, if I could provide that to you and get lost in it with you, it's like that keeps a woman happy as well. Yeah.
I'm stuck right now. It's gonna come to me later. I don't got anything right now.
Things.
It is.
It's a lot of things. That's why I'm just like,
where to start?
yeah.
Right, I get you.
So, all right, so we got the healthy, but like when it's unhealthy, how do we heal that? Or when it's unhealthy, what can we do to make it healthy?
See, I can speak to that. I'm good with turning pain into progress. When it's unhealthy, we got to get to the source of why. You know, where did it come from? Did it come from her mother? Did it come from her mom? Did it come from a sibling? Did it come from an aunt, an uncle? You know, so where did it start? And then go from there. And not only that, but is she willing to do the work that's going to be required to be healthy? Because no matter what we do as men, if that woman is not willing to put in the work to go from toxic to healthy, it's not going to work. We're going to end up burning ourselves out trying to, you know, be savior. And she hasn't even chosen self.
Right.
Facts.
And so I mean, and that's where accountability comes into place. Like, you know, once women, and it's not to say women haven't, but like, just to, you know, continue to be subjective. Like, once a woman can reach that state of holding herself accountable, like, dang, I'm not as good as I think I am. You know, when she reaches that place and then she starts to do the work for herself to become healthy, to be more intentional, to be more decisive in how she operates and who she's around, then that will move the needle forward in the right direction.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah, and it always starts at the foundation of wanting to heal and wanting to correct yourself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, with anybody, it don't even have to be matriarchy, but it's like, if you don't want to heal, it's no progress that's going to be made, you know? And it's like, for us as men, too, that's hard to take on, you know, trying to heal a woman's, not because you got to heal for yourself, but aiding and healing a woman's matriarchal wounds or maternal wounds. You feel what I'm saying? Right. It's very, oh man, it's crazy, man. Like, man, it's just difficult to do that because you just got so many nuances. And you got to think, it's a woman who has been wounded by her mother. That's a lot of emotion. You know what I'm saying? A lot of emotion. Like, we know, all right, our past is our past, our upbringing is our upbringings, and we know the source of why we do certain things. We have these talks, you know what I'm saying? And we work to just fix them, you know what I'm saying? With women, it's like, nah, I don't gotta fix that because they have an emotional attachment to that feeling, you feel what I'm saying? To where they don't want to move past it because they feel like they don't need to, or they feel like, I don't feel like I don't want to move past this because somebody needs to feel me. You feel what I'm saying? So it's very hard to heal that, and it's very difficult to, you know what I'm saying, get past that with the woman sometimes, you know?
Yeah, like I said, she has to want that for herself. And then it can get deeper or more difficult if that maternal wound was by her mom or her grandma, but those people are no longer physically available for her to even have that conversation. So now she has to go deeper within herself, you know, deeper meditation, deeper prayer, you know, probably, you know, do some type of ancestral divination you know, from someone like in the EFA community or something like that, to like really tap in for that level of forgiveness.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and then too, in light of what you were saying, man, yeah, you know, how much do you want to, you know, solve or heal this? Because I'm only going to want to solve or heal it as much as you're going to want to solve or heal it. You know me.
Yeah.
I am not about to be, I want to solve it and heal it more than you. Nope. If you want to solve it at a 2, I'm going to want to solve it at a 2. If you want to solve it at a 10, then my job is to try to help you solve it at a 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Yeah, and I also think it's about looking at, well, what is it that keeps us as, like you was talking about presence earlier, like what is it that keeps men away from presence? Capitalism.
Yeah, we got to constantly
Striving
work.
to survive in a capitalistic existence can keep you away from being present.
Yeah.
And so this is now where it's like, well, and now the only thing that I've seen that can solve that is if you have, if we work in a team fashion, in a communal sense, like if all 3 of us are working to build this house,
Right.
it's not as tough on you as the individual to build the house.
Right.
So now you got more energy to be present. But if we being all separate in every endeavor, you have even less energy to be present in your domestic dealings.
Yeah, and so that, and then when you add in, like, because everyone is operating out of capitalism and operating independently, everyone is seeing themselves as their own leader, and so no one is willing to follow in any capacity, because it's just like, well, I don't like how you're saying that. I don't like how you speaking to me in this way.
Right.
I'm not about to listen to you. It's just like, all right, well, then how are we gonna do this if you want me to listen to you, but you're not willing to listen to me? It ain't gonna work.
Right.
Yeah. So are men able to speak freely if their matriarchs become defensive?
I don't think so. In my time, anytime like my mom would become defensive about something that I was speaking on, man, you might as well just go ahead and hit that red button in the president's office.
Yeah.
Something's about to go off. Like, it's not going down. So, yeah, I never had success with and not even just my mom, but like even in intimate relationships where it's like where a woman is like being defensive about something that I'm saying from what I'm observing with her behavior or character. The moment I say something about it, it's like that flip, it's just like I just flip the switch, trigger goes off, and she's like, who are you to talk to me like this? I'm just like, whoa, where is this coming from? Like, I'm trying to help you help yourself.
Yeah.
But now you getting mad at me because I said something off of an observation because of either something that you did, something that you said. And I'm just like, I don't think that's the best approach for you to go about that. And so, yeah, that's actually one of the toxic behavior patterns is being defensive. Because then that'll trickle to stonewalling and other, toxic communication behaviors.
Yeah, and then this goes into the realm of knowledge of self, right? And what I have observed about, communicating with the feminine in that way, women, people in general, but from what I have observed, women are extremely emotional to words. So when something is worded or phrased a certain way, now it could be exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It could really get, I'm saying exactly what needs to be said. But when that happens, the way it was said and the phrasing and all of that, they could get caught up in that transference of the message.
Yeah.
And so when that's happening, I think sometimes, on the male, he has to have a level of knowledge of self, of himself, to say, you know what? I said exactly what needed to be said. I'm going to just sit back and wait till you get over whatever you needed to get over. But see, that may take you in that moment have to be aware of yourself.
Right.
So it's a lot of awareness that needs to be taking place. And I think when you communicating, period, you got to really communicate very slow and think about, thinking and talking at the same time can be a difficult thing to do because you're thinking and talking simultaneously.
Right.
Your mind might be over here in Pluto, but your thoughts is over there in Saturn, so it ain't coming out right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Out correctly.
Right.
Yeah, and however that makes her feel.
Facts.
Could be the response that you get back. You know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting one that is an art, so to speak. It's like you can't really be like, we've gotten it. It's just something that you got to keep practicing.
Yeah, it's definitely an art to it when you're communicating in that space to get to a solution.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because just like, all right, if I say this word, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Or if I use this tone, that's gonna happen. I was like, like you're literally playing chess in real time. Just like, it's like you find yourself bargaining a lot within yourself. Just like, you know, and then it's funny because like certain women can they can take that one moment and flip it back on you. Just like, what's taking you so long to answer my question?
Right.
What's taking you so long to to say something? Just like,
are you playing with me right now?
like yo, like what?
Right.
How did it get here?
Right. And depending upon, whatever the situation is, it's so many nuances. So it's like, that's why when I'm, like, I know me, when I get emotionally charged, I don't necessarily, when I get emotionally charged, I am going straight from point A to Z with what I'm saying. I don't have time to go here and there when I'm emotionally charged because I'm speaking, straight to the shit. And so when that's taking place, I have to be mindful where this might not be the best time for me to speak about this right now until I go back into a more objective, neutral state. See, when I'm objective and neutral, it's bullets is flying. I'm Neo in the Matrix right now. You know what I mean? But when if I get charged, I'm speaking. My tone is different, and all of that can affect the message. So I have to be mindful of myself and my own emotional disposition when I am communicating with feminine energy. I do recognize that.
Right.
We got to figure out how maternal wounds have affected us in the communication of talking with the feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like I realized, even dealing with the feminine, like I realized what I've seen over the years, just being a young man to growing to being a grown man, how my maternal wounds have affected like my relationships with women. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, like platonically, I'm able to have great relationships with women just because of, my mom's presence and, even how we communicate now, you know what I'm saying? But like with intimate relationships, it's like, because like earlier we spoke on emotional neglect. So it was like for that, like with my mom, as soon as she would start doing her little shit, I'd tune out and I'd just ghost out, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. To the point where I didn't express my emotions because I didn't want to get emotionally wrapped up in that because it was going to lead to a dead end anyway, but that transmuted into, in my intimate relationships, me going ghost. Once I feel like it's some emotional connection or I feel like I'm getting emotionally connected, I just go ghost. You know what I'm saying? Because I would feel the same way. I feel like it was going to be a dead end. You know what I'm saying? So I realized that within myself, like I gotta heal myself with those maternal wounds so that don't happen again. You feel me? And be more intentional in my intimate relationships. You know what I'm saying?
That was a nice double entendre. I don't even know if you caught it.
Nah, I didn't.
Going ghost because it's gonna lead to a dead end.
Oh, go ahead. Bumbles.
Barring on their songs, you have to throw that joint in there. That was.
Well, no, how's your maternal wounds showed up like in y'all's relationships with women, whether it be intimate or platonic?
In my early days, I was narcissistic, like very controlling, because it's like that's how it was reflected on me from my mom's, like having to control everything, every little thing I did. I'm just like, why are you like this? Like I'm just trying to go outside, go to the basketball court, being here before the street lights come on. You come in 30 minutes after, punishment. I'm just like, man, they won't even doing nothing. I was literally just balling at the court, minding my business. I might have went to 7-Eleven, got me some mambas, and then I came back. I won't do nothing crazy. But it was like, that level of control. And so I seen that within me, like in my early relationships of like how I be controlling and, nagging and nitpicking. I was just like, ugh, this is ugly. But it's like, I picked it up from her. And it's now I'm putting that everywhere I go. And I'm just like, nah, this not it. And so that's just one of the ways that I seen. And then, I had to do my deep dive and correct it.
Yeah, I think for me, and it's something that I, continuously build or destroy through, as y'all know. Dealing with, I think in my earlier days, really dealing with being emotionally present, so to speak. And I think it's one of those things where I learned early on, how I respond to emotions. I studied myself early on when I was a kid. Certain things make you feel this way, certain things make you feel that way. And you feel it through your body, and your body is like, I don't like the way that feels. Mm-hmm. And so I think early on in dealing with relationships with women, I would not be very emotionally present. One, because I really wasn't sure, I'm just dealing with, I'm attracting women, but I don't necessarily have an end goal here. So I don't really know what I'm really doing here at the end goal. Yeah. But at the same time, I know that I'm attracting them. You see what I'm saying? And so not really having a sense of direction, and you don't really know by not having a sense of direction, you don't really know where you're going with this. So not really being emotionally present, so to speak, I think it's something that kind of really was a theme in a lot of my early on relationships. And I look back on that and I think about that from a standpoint of, man, I never really saw a deep affectional display in my own household. Damn. Let me go back and going back and look again, going to extended family. When did I hug my aunt? When did my aunt come hug me? When did my grandmother hug me? When was the last time these things, when did we all hug each other, so to speak? All these different connective nuances. I'm like, So I've been conditioned, so to speak, in this space. And now how do you go about changing that? You know what I mean? So that's something in dealing with relationships that becomes also a constant theme for my relationships as well. All relationships now giving, showing, and displaying degrees of affection without necessarily, all right, man, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, that's something that I think when I look back on it has been, there's been a lot of great, feminine energy that has come my way that I've experienced in life. And those lessons makes me think about, if I have my own daughters, what that would look like, So, yeah.
So what it sounds like to me is the God need a hug.
But I mean, that's what happens. It's like, it's almost like the family recipe, right? It gets passed down from years to years, generation to generation. And they could be doing something that's wrong, it could be one step in that process where it's like, man, let's say you making the family turkey. Oh, instead of putting it in the pan, before you just put it in the pan, put it in a turkey bag. You want to change that up. But because they so emotionally attached, you're like, no, we ain't changing it up. We've been doing it for years like this. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like that maternal wound is kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like once you start asking questions and trying to heal from it, it's like, no, don't change it because this is what we've been known to do. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, these are the questions that we have to get to, and this is the thing that we have to unpack. So that way, going forth, we can make this recipe better. You know what I'm saying? We can improve upon that,
Yeah, we've been conditioned to operate out of survival. So the moment you start asking questions, you start shaking things up, it messes with the survival instinct. It's just like, whoa, this is unknown territory for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not used to stepping out of this comfort zone. And so it becomes scary. When you start asking these questions. It's like, I'm not trying to incite fear or, invoke these things like that. It's just like, I see that there's a problem within our family bloodline, our family dynamic. And because I see it, I'm just here to, shine a little light on the situation so we can change, grow, and become better.
Facts.
Yeah. And I recognize sometimes in dealing with the feminine, the depths of those emotions are not things that all of them are willing to face to fix it. Yeah. So this is where
accountability,
the difficulty can come into play if you're trying to fix it, because you do need their help to a degree.
Yes.
to help aid in the fixing it. And so I recognize that, and that's a space that we are still trying to figure out how to go about circumnavigating that.
Yeah, because women are very powerful. Women have very powerful intuition, very deep spiritual connections. And so when they're disconnected from themselves and then from each other, you know, it affects everyone that's connected to them in whatever fashion. And so, and that's one of the powers that women have is through connection. But when they're disconnected, they're disjointed, they're operating dysfunctionally, it's bad. Yeah, it's real bad. So it's like when we can bring them deeper connections within themselves and into others around them, I think that's where like some of our best service can come in. It's like when we can bring them back to a state of connection.
Definitely, man. And you know, lastly before we go, like, how do we make sure these maternal wounds don't get passed on? Like, from a man's perspective, how do we allow the space so that way they don't continue to run on and get passed to the next generation? I know probably true you can speak to this because, you know, you have daughters, so yeah.
I think it just comes in just showing them like as dad, like this is what dad went through with your grandmother, your great grandmother. You know, this is what dad went through with your mother. You know, this is what your mother went through with her mother and her mother and her grandmother and her aunts and things like that. So I'm just here to show you what's going on, and I'm going to do my very best to guide you in a way that is going to put you in a space where you don't have to deal with that stuff. You'll be aware of them, and and then you, of course, because, you know, children are just human. They're humans too. They're just, you know, going through their maturation that we've already went through. And so just being able to put them in a space where they can develop their own emotional intelligence and awareness, they'll be like, okay, I see what dad is saying. I see what mom is saying. I'm seeing what, you know, grandma and aunties are saying. And they'll be able to have that feeling within themselves like, this doesn't feel right to me. That feels right to me, but I don't like that. And I give my daughters the space to express themselves. They don't always take it, you know, because they'll think like, oh man, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want, you know, to make things awkward in the house or anything like that. But I give them the space. They don't always take it, man. You know, they don't have to. Yeah, facts. You know, but what they really like the most is like, you know, we'll be listening to like some Kendrick or something like that, and you know, some profane words coming on the song. It was like, but Dad, you said we can say them as long as we with you. I'm like, I did say that. I did say that. Because I already know y'all doing it at school anyway. So it's like, it ain't no issue. Fuck. Shit. In the bathroom and shit. It'd be funny because when I hear them say, I just be like, they're like, you
That's
said
how you
we
say
can
it.
say it. I'd be like, touche. So just like, you know, giving women the space to be authentic with themselves, but at the same time just guiding and steering their direction so they don't fall off the ledge. Yeah, I always say that too. Like when I be breaking down like the masculine and the feminine to women, I be like, yo, see, men, we like black and white. You know what I'm saying? Like we're very objective. We see things one way or the other, for real, for real. I said, women, y'all add the color. You know what I'm saying? Y'all make things beautiful. You feel what I'm saying? Like the things that we wouldn't see in the black and white, it's like, oh damn, that is beautiful. We can appreciate those things when a woman comes and adds that color. You feel what I'm saying? Right. At the same time, being that we're the black and white, we have to define those lines for them to color in. You feel what I'm saying? And we got to make sure that they stay within the lines. You feel me? Especially if they come into our cipher, we got to make sure that everything's in proper order. Yeah, you can color, but don't mix the yellow over here with the orange, you know what I'm saying? Or don't go over this line because then you're going into a new section over here, you know? We define those lines for them to color in, you know, at least when they're within our cipher. So, yeah, man. But, yeah.
I think to answer that question, I think having I think creating a space in the house or wherever they are of studying psychology and sociology at all times. I think as people, we have to constantly study other people in order to have a comparison of what we're personally going through what somebody else is going through. I feel like that is what creates emotional intelligence, so to speak. Like if you're watching a movie and you see shit, you watching what's a major joint that people have seen?
Black Panther.
Black Panther, right? Black Panther. Let's say we was watching Black Panther. Let's say the first one, and you studying Killmonger. You can resonate with Killmonger's character and disposition of his bitterness from being left from this great kingdom, but he was left here.
Yeah.
And Killmonger's like, fuck y'all leave me out here for. So he's mad.
Yeah.
He's enraged. That's understandable. You can understand where these emotions was coming from. So now you can say to yourself, well, damn, I can relate with Killmonger. A part of me can relate. Not to say the way he might have went about it was the best way, obviously, because it led to his demise. His own anger led to his own demise. But by studying the psychology and the sociology of the movie, you like, damn, I understand. So now when you might be in a life situation where somebody may feel abandoned or left behind, you can have a degree of understanding, even if you might not have gone through that yourself. So I think creating atmospheres everywhere, even if it's music, any area that you in with children, hey, check that kid out. Hey, that kid is homeless. Or, going to feed, oh, this kid right here, look at this kid, he playing gym, allowing them to see how other people move and operate and so they can constantly compare and contrast. And I think that develops richness in their ability to be emotionally intelligent, so to speak.
Yeah, just give them a broad stroke of life experiences.
Right.
And let them pick and choose what's the best for them.
Right.
Because they're going to go their way regardless. Our job is just to steer and direct so they don't fall off course or become astray or become wayward.
Right.
But they still going to do what they do. I mean, they could be the prodigal daughter or prodigal son where it's just like, I see what dad talking about, but it's just like, I'm really inclined to try this. I know it's outside the bounds of what he said, but I'm really inclined to try it. It's just like, I tried it. I see what dad was talking about. I'm coming home. Right. Like, and come home. And you don't got to hit him with I told you. You don't got to hit him with that because then, that's going to dawn upon them like, this is why I left in the first place.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, I agree with that. Yeah. That's
yeah, man. So we go ahead and end the episode off. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice segue. You feel me? I'm Alive Victorious.
I'm True Universal.
My name is Syncear.
And this is
When the Gods Build.
Peace, y'all. Peace.